common soldier's cloak so he could return to the castle as one of the king's guards. For more than a year, Arcite searched in vain for the maiden, while Palamon, having been abandoned by his brother, began to wither in age. Taking pity on Palamon, the king moved him into the house across from him, into the quarters directly across. While Arcite searched and lived in poverty, Palamon grew stronger and gained the good nature and right hand of the king. One winter the king's guard returned from a difficult campaign in Carpathia, and although victory was won, the army was ragged and unkempt as the guard returned from the castle. Palamon stood high on the gate tower, waiting to welcome the king, when he began to notice a golden-haired soldier returning. It was Arcite. And as he came closer, Palamon's heart did grow. He raced to his brother and embraced him with a heaping joy and blessings. All the kingdom watched in delight in such a joyful reunion. But just as quickly as it began, Arcite drew his sword and leapt at the throat of his brother. He cursed Palamon and accused him of stealing the heart of the maiden and condemning him to a life of poverty in the king's army. He challenged Palamon to mortal combat for the honor of the maiden. And although Palamon pleaded with his brother, Arcite would not be denied. Therefore the king set a date for the brothers to face one another for mortal combat for the mysterious maiden upon the first of the month. As cold as that morning was, Arcite's rage heated his blood. No longer seeing Palamon as his brother, Arcite entered the king's yard bent on ending his competition for love. Palamon, although broken-hearted, fought the bravest of fights. The skill of each man was tested again as the sun rose high in the sky. Back and forth went the battle. Shields and swords were splintered and broken. Shields and swords were splintered and broken upon the Green guys. In the end, Palamon did fall by his brother's sword. In the end, Palamon did fall by his brother's sword, confessing his love for Arcite in his final breath. All the kingdom stood silent as Arcite pulled his sword from his brother's breast. Just then a raven swooped down over Palamon, and the bird's screams shattered the silence. The king's tethered horse broke free in fear and charged the gates, paying no mind to the victorious Arcite, who stood alone. The power of the steed was no match for the weary Arcite, and his back snapped at the charge. Arcite fell upon the body of his dead brother. Looking across the fields, he saw the young maiden once again gathering flowers as her scarlet hair tied in a blue bow blew in the wind. Arcite took one last breath, knowing only then that he had traded the love and all the love he had ever known for a mirage, which would only last as long as his final breath. It was done. But alas, I feel as if I've taken up too much of your time already. You see, my travels have taught me that time is the true value we have in this life. We can acquire no more than we are given, and we shall be held accountable for each moment we spend. As for me, I shall enjoy the food and the ale, and well, for time has set me in a place to see so much more and to know that one simple action can change fortune in an instant. To time and to your health, salute.